In 2023, I've literally lost $120,000 of potential earnings from not implementing these two things that I'm going to be breaking down in this video. And what's crazy is that one of them is not really taught in our culture, and we're always capped at something. So I'm going to really break this down. So let's get right into it. What's going on, fam? Welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 2 ways to actually start a 6-figure business. And I'm going to show you how we can do this with making 10K a month in 12 months or less, okay? And I'm going to show you here in this video, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick so that you can actually get an idea of how exactly we do this. So how we do this is very, very simple. There's 2 ways to actually build a business, okay? And the 2 ways that we actually build a business is 1, you can either start a business, or 2, you can actually buy a business, okay? And buying business, like I mentioned, is something that we don't often talk about in our culture, right? It's not something that's discussed. So I'm going to break down all of this on this call, okay? So starting a business, we always know about starting a business. This is nothing new. We see it all the time on social media. And so starting a business, I'm going to talk about the pros and cons, or really just what it takes to actually start a business, okay? So when it comes to starting a business, what do I mean by actually starting a business? All right, so what I mean by starting a business is building on social media, having an online presence, building an online business, okay? And this isn't like drop shipping or affiliate marketing or sponsorships. This is what we're referring to as starting an online business on your Instagram or YouTube, just like what I'm doing here, right? To actually build personal branding, okay? So this is about personal branding. All right, now the key thing about starting a business is that you have very low risk. It takes you really no capital to get started, right? So there's really no risk, but there's high amounts of time. It takes a lot of time to build a personal brand. But the greatest part about actually doing this, even though it's low risk and high time, is that you're able to build an intense business. Like, think of The Rock, how he was able to come out with a tequila brand and it became one of the biggest tequila brands in the world. Think of Kylie Jenner, who was able to come out with a makeup line, or Rihanna, who came out with a makeup line, and now they're both billionaires, all from their personal brand. Right? So starting a business is something that is actually very, very lucrative, right? The only issue is that you actually have to learn something called lead gen. You know what I'm saying? You actually got to learn how to generate leads. You got to actually learn how to get attention, right? Now, like I mentioned, this costs you no risk, but it also can cost you little to no money, okay? So you don't really have to, you really could start this for free. YouTube is free. Instagram is free. It costs you nothing to actually film on these platforms by using your current phone. If you're going to talk about what it costs, maybe it costs you your phone bill, but that's something you would have paid for regardless, right? So it literally costs you no money. Now, the pros and cons when it comes to starting a business is that most people have an issue with, what should I start with? Should I start with my passion, or should I start with something that's making me money? Right? Should I go with what's making me money, or should I go with my passion? Well, the answer is not really, the hardest. I mean, I would say that it's pretty difficult to kind of make a decision depending on the skill set, right? If I'm saying that I'm going to make, coverings on a book, I don't know how lucrative that business is, but it may not be something. I may be passionate in it, but it may not be something that'll give me money, right? Back in the day, a starving artist was real. You wanted to be an artist, but the issue though is that artists weren't really making income back in the day 20 years ago, right? But now they're making income now. So that passion can make money. So you got to make a decision, on these options. You got to really count the time, right? You got to be able to be like, okay, which one should I do? Right? That's the pros and cons of having or starting a business, that you have to pick. Should I do my passion, or should I do this for money? I think you should do it for both, if I'll be honest, and I'm gonna tell you why. But another thing here, you can make 10K a month starting a business, y'all, in like 12 months, right? It may take a little bit more depending on how good you are, how you listen to your audience, a lot of different things. You could make 10K a month in 12 months or less, right? If you really were, it's been proven. If you really want to take your time on this, if you really want to commit to it, it's been proven several hundreds of times that people can change their lives in 12 months, okay? Now, the key thing here is that you have to be able to put in the time, and you have to be able to put in work when it comes to personal branding, okay? You have to be able to do this. And it's all about this amazing word called consistency, okay? As you all seen on my channel, I've been a lot more consistent. I've been posting on a consistent basis. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are consistent in regards to everything, so you can get to this 10K a month goal, right, within 12 months. And it may take you more than 12 months, right? But if we can get it down in 12 months, then that's the goal, right? Now, let's talk about buying a business. We talked about starting a business, which takes a lot of your time. It's low risk. It costs you nothing, all these amazing things. But buying a business, no one talks about how to buy a business. Okay, so the greatest part about buying a business is that you don't need to have a personal brand. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be involved, right? And it's arguably that depending on the business that you buy, that you don't also have to have high amounts of involvement or time within the business. Now it's high risk and may cost you, money depending on how you structure the deal, how you structure the business or when you're acquiring it, right? But it may not, but I know it'll cost you high risk because this is something that you have to put in, some form of work, maybe sweat equity in, depending on what that is, and that may cost you time, right? But at the end of the day, you don't have to be involved in the business. It already comes with employees. It already comes, and I don't know why I couldn't spell right there. That was crazy. It already comes with employees. It already comes with systems, right? You don't have to worry about lead gen because they've already solved that problem, right? Right. So, and the great thing is that if you choose, depending on how you structure the deal, you also don't even have to have any money down, right? The only thing you may have to pay for is maybe like attorney fees, right? Let's be honest. You may have to pay for attorney fees, but picture this. If I spend a couple $1,000s on attorney fees to be able to make 10K a month in 30 days or less, because that's what I'm buying. I'm buying the actual cash flow of the business. The business is already cash flowing me $10,000 a month. Then I would gladly pay 3,000 to get 10,000, right? And the greatest part is that you can buy your passion. And that can make you money. You don't have to decide, oh, should I buy a business or should I not buy a business? Not buy a business. Should I go with my passion or should I not go with my passion? You don't have to worry about that. You can just buy your passion. That's already cash flowing you 10K a month, right? And so picture you spending 3 to 5K on attorney fees, and then you acquire a 10-20K a month business on the spot. Then guess what you can do? You can then, now that this business has been cash flowing for, let's say, 5 years, guess what you can go to? You can go to the bank and get you get you funding with no PG. Ooh, I just gave y'all some game. You could go to the bank because it already has 5 years of history of it making money, y'all. So you don't even have to worry about, oh, how do I get funding? This is how people don't use credit. This is why I say that this is what's not used within our culture. Like, you could acquire a business, you can buy a business and not worry about credit anymore. Because you could just use the income that's being made from that business to go get the funding that you want. And guess what? Both of these, no matter what's going on with both of these particular businesses, obviously both of these are going to go up under a trust. And eventually I would suggest you do both instead of picking one or the other. I would have you start a business and buy a business. This year we've already, I would say actually it was 2022 when we bought our first business. We actually didn't know what the hell we were doing. I'm not gonna lie to you. We bought a shout out page, and that's buying a business because that business was making money, right? The other thing that we bought was this year actually is we bought a weight loss clinic. Or my mom wanted a weight loss clinic, so we bought a weight loss clinic, right? So that's something that we've actually been in the works and been doing this entire time. Now we're buying and acquiring even more businesses so that we can, get things off the ground so that we don't even have to worry about credit. The issue with starting business, y'all, you need funding eventually to start the business. There's the reason why people, they don't last in business after like 5 years or even a year is either two things. It's either effort or funding. You either aren't putting in enough work or you don't have enough capital. That's why your business actually fails. But with buying a business, I'm not saying you don't need, you do got to put the effort in, but you don't need the funding. You don't need to worry about, lack of capital. That's what you don't need. Right? And they already have systems and processes in place where you don't even have to worry about messing those things up. And let's say this is you. You bought an existing business. They already had employees in this business. So now you became the new owner of the business. Guess what? You don't even have to become the owner. You could hire an owner to run this business for you, and you are now called a chairman. Ooh, did y'all just see that? Did y'all just hear what I just said? You don't even have to run the business. Now the owner runs the business with these employees here, and now you're just the chairman running, let's say, multiple businesses and hiring multiple owners for each business. So like this is how people are actually generating income. And guess what? Each business could generate you on no PG about 100K additionally in funding. So now you bought a business for 10K a month. That's already, so that's already 120K a year. Then you're able to get 120K in funding the next day you get the actual business. When you have acquired the business, you can get funding the next day. I'm not playing with you. The next day of you buying and acquiring that business, you could go to the bank and get 50 to 100K in funding, and now you've turned a let's say you worked a 9 to 5. Let's say you're a 9 to 5 kid, right? Let's be real. Let's say you're a 9 to 5 kid, and let's say you're a server, right? And you make, let's say, 50K a year, right? You make 50K a year, which is about, let's say, 4K and some change a month, right? 4K and some change a month. You decide that you want to actually go buy a business, right? And so what are you going to do? Let's say your bills probably take up all this. Let's be honest. Your 4K a month is gone just from that. So you're like, you know what? I need to get another job. Let me get another job as a server and let that actually be my surplus to supplement my income. And let's say I make another, let's say 3K a month from this job, right? 3K a month. So now this is something that's additional. This pays for my bills. This pays for my life. Okay. So what I'm going to do is my goal is to buy a business that's generating, and I would honestly go for a business that's generating 240K minimum a year. I wouldn't just go for 10K, 120K a year. And that's a totally different discussion for a totally different day. I'd go for that. And then after I buy 250K, guess how much? I use that whole 3K, 1 month's pay, to get me a 240K a year business plus 100K, let me do this, 100K in funding. So that means I use 3K to buy 340K. That's called real leverage. That's real life that I just showed you. Guess how many hours you may be working? You may be working 60 plus hours a week. 60 plus hours a week. You got 24 hours in a day, right? You sleep 8 out of those hours. You work, let's say you work 12 out of those hours. You get ready 2 out of those hours. You drive 2 out of those hours, right? So this right here is 20. This right here is 24, right? So let's say you got 24 hours. Guess what you have to do? You have $3,000 surplus. You don't have the time right now. Guess what you're going to do, right? And it may not take you 2 hours. Honestly, it shouldn't take you 2 hours to do anything in a day. It should probably take you 1 hour to do anything in a day to get to where you need to be, which means you have an hour of your day left to do what you got to do. If you're working 2 jobs, this is real life right here, okay? This is real life. This is what I would do. I would hire me a $500 a month VA to find the deals. And before I'd even do that, let's back up. You don't even know what you know yet. You don't know what you don't know. So what I would do first is I would get in mentorship. It may cost you between 2K to 5K one time to get a mentor, to actually learn how to do it. Once you learn how to do it, you take an hour of your day to learn how to do it. And then after you know how to do it, hire 500 a month VA from the Philippines, get them to find all the deals, bring them to you. And out of that 1 hour a day, I'd source through those deals. You may be able to source through 20 to 50 a day. And from that 20 to 50 a day, then you may find one that you like, or it might be more than one, honestly. It may be like 5-10 that you like. Out of that 5-10, one you'll acquire. You turn, and that off that one you acquired, it then goes back to that 340K that I mentioned. And all you did is invest 2 to 5K. Guess what? Out of that one that you liked, you probably are paying about 5K to 10K worth of fees for attorney fees. Maybe, depending. It could be less depending on what you're actually needing, let's be honest. But the key thing is you're spending, this may be 2 months of pay from the surplus right here. That's maybe 2 to 4 months worth of pay. That's cool. It took you 2 to 4 months to acquire a 340K a month business that's including the funding. Can you do that? That's the question that I want you to ask yourself. Can you do that? I think you can, right? So, like I mentioned, I knew I was going to show y'all something y'all never heard before. This is pretty much everything you need to know. 2 ways on how to actually, build a business from scratch, especially a family business from scratch, because this is something that you must have, you must be able to take seriously, y'all. I want you to build a business that's worth having. Build a business that will literally take you to the next level. Okay, so this is everything I got. Hopefully this makes sense. If you got any questions, let me know in the comments below, and let me know what video you want next. All right, so hopefully I was able to change your life and make you think of things a bit differently. So I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.